Today we're joined in studio by wildlife biologist Adam Butler and Major Chris Reed with the Law Enforcement Bureau. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good, Teddy.
Doing well.
That's my name today is Teddy. Join us tomorrow. Who knows what it'll be.
That's it. Well, Butler couldn't quite remember outside, so Dave, we just wanted to clear that up.
I will answer.
We don't know where JT is. He may be enjoying a deer stand or something.
He's it's a good
or battening
time.
down the hatches
True. Maybe not a good
before
day
the weather
to be
comes in.
Hunting today, but
it's also possible that last week you called him Freddie Earl by mistake and he just didn't show up today. That's the other possibility.
Could be.
He could be not here because of you. But before we get started, you talking about battening down the hatches. Let's just mention it again very quickly here. Tornado warning in effect right now for southeastern Warren County and central Hinds County until 12:45. So just stay weather aware, and this is just the start. We're going to be getting this kind of thing all day.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, this one's just that one little cell that's coming through now, but more later, huh?
Yeah, over in Louisiana and up into Arkansas, it's just a wall.
Yeah,
that's coming in our direction. So yeah. Now, you guys, today we're going to talk about game wardens.
That's it.
Everybody's favorite people.
Well, it depends on who you ask, I guess.
And the situation, probably.
True. Very true.
Depends on why they're seeing you.
Kind of talk about, what a day looks like this time of year, maybe some of the things that we do, some of the things, common myths that may be debunked, or, just kind of bounce around.
I think most hunters who are on the up and up and law-abiding, they appreciate the game warden. They like seeing the game warden. They respect the game warden.
Yeah, I think that's a safe
the ones to whom the game warden is a dirty word are probably maybe not doing as they should.
Yes,
they're the ones that need to meet the game warden.
That's probably correct.
Need to meet them. Unfortunately, sometimes more frequently than you would think. But that's something we're going to talk about today. Maybe interesting. People have any questions? Call in, ask, or any stories, or I don't know if we have time for stories.
We'll make time for
story time with Major Reed.
Come on, yeah, I'm down for that. Somebody, Richard from Wiggins, texted in on the C Spire text line. Just obey the law, people.
It's so simple.
You would think so,
right? Yeah,
it doesn't work out that way though, does it?
Not quite. It's we'll talk about that stuff. Some of the animals that we are charged to protect in this state cause individuals to do some very stupid things this time of year.
Yeah, this is be a good one.
Just to expand on that a little bit, I've always noticed people view game and fish laws differently than they do other laws in a lot of cases. Not always, but some people do.
That's
some
true.
People who would. You see individuals who would never break another law, just as moral, upstanding
in the society.
And then when it comes to game laws,
and fish
all
laws,
of a sudden,
they just lose their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're viewed differently, in some instances in the courts that prosecute some of these laws that we uphold. They sometimes view game and fish laws as a lesser offense, I guess you could say. That's not all across the state. That's unique in certain instances in certain areas, but it does happen. So
that's unfortunate. I mean, given what wildlife and hunting and fishing mean to our state, both in terms of just people's enjoyment, what it means to our culture, but also economically. I mean, it's a $2 billion industry in the state.
Big deal.
That's something we should take seriously.
And you get down to it, the law is the law.
Yeah,
I don't care what category it's in.
There is that, yes.
Yeah, there is that, and we don't make them. That's something that we always tell people that sometimes may be upset with the citation being issued. That's like, look, we don't make these laws. We don't come up with them, pass them, any of that. We're just charged to enforce them, and we're just enforcing it. And the person that didn't obey the law would be you. And so sometimes it's accidental. More times than not, it's not. They're just mad they got caught.
Oh, but if you ask them, everybody you catch, it was accidental. I know how that works all too well.
Yep.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do this for the 12th time. But before we get into that, got a lot of other stuff going on, including Stuff the Truck, Adam.
Yeah, well, I'll let Major Reed cover that one, since that's one of the things that Law Enforcement Bureau is doing this time of year.
Something we'll be doing this week. We've been the last few weekends taking up toys to donate to the kids there at Batson, the Child Life Division, and that division is their main purpose is to make the kids who are in the hospital stay as enjoyable as possible. And hopefully some of the toys will be utilized during Christmas time for those kids who have to spend Christmas there at the hospital. And we'll have Santa Claus there tomorrow, I believe, and make a donation. Santa Claus is coming down for a special visit before he gets really busy on Christmas Eve.
Very nice, very nice. And it's the time of year.
That's it.
You know.
It's an opportunity for us to give back, and hopefully put a smile on somebody's face.
Do you need any help? Do you need any donations?
We're good. We've currently gotten the donations that we need. And
you guys had a big drive over the weekend, right?
Yeah, the last 2 weekends we kind of make a big push. And, we've done it for maybe 4 or 5 years now we've done this. And so something we look forward to this year, being able to give back to the community and the kids,
Very nice. Very nice. And see, for those of you that think,
right,
game wardens, they're law enforcement. They're just out to get you. No.
Yeah.
No. You guys have big hearts.
We have human side. Yeah, well, human sides. We are human. We have sensitive sides. So that's something we look forward to this week.
Now, the new Phil Bryant management area. It's been in the news. Everybody's been talking about it. We'll be talking about it more on Super Talk in the coming days. But there are some restrictions in place there, right?
That's right. There's provisions in the regulations for that wildlife management area where it closes when the gauge at Still Bayou reaches 82 feet, and it's currently...
It's like 82.6.
Yeah, it's slightly above. So right now, Phil Bryant is closed to all hunting except waterfowl. You can still waterfowl hunt there through the draw system.
The Mahana and Buck Bayou units are going to be through the draw, so you need to go to the headquarters there. The 10-point in the Goose Lake.
I think that's
correct.
It? Yeah.
That's you don't have to go into the draw there. But if there's any questions about that,
So if you were drawing for a deer hunt, we had some really cool opportunities there with the mentor or the group hunts and that sort of thing. You should have gotten an email just
laying it all out there.
Known that those
and we hope that the river the Mississippi's falling and will kind of get down low enough where they can get those gates open. And get it back below 82 feet and open the deer and the small game opportunities back up.
Now, having said that, today's weather is probably not going to help that.
It's going to add to it, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to delay it maybe a bit more, I'm afraid. So I wouldn't expect that to change in the next day or two.
No.
Or the next week.
On the positive side, though, the weather, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough today, but if you're a duck hunter, I think you should like what this is going to be bringing, man. It's a pretty significant drop in temperatures, and looking at that radar, there's a lot of ice and stuff north of us, which is usually a good thing if you're a duck hunter. So,
are we flying airplanes, Eddie?
I know they were scheduled to do the waterfowl surveys this week. I'm guessing with the weather today, they're probably not going up in the plane. I haven't heard that. I don't know, but I know they were. This was one of their weeks. I think they've already done two flights, so this was kind of the midwinter.
Yeah.
So hopefully Houston and the duck guys will get that done this week and be able to give us updated waterfowl reports. Right now, things have been pretty good. We've had some WMAs that are doing really, really well. Mahana's done really well. William C. Davini WMA has done really well. A couple of others. So the ducks are here, but again, this front coming through, I think there's going to be a lot more of them here by the end of the week than there are today.
We hope. We need these fronts to kind of stack on top of each other every week and a half to continue to give us pushes and pushes and pushes of ducks, because anybody that's out there listening that chases the waterfowl knows that if they stay here long enough and they get hunted long enough, the same birds, then they become ghosts, and you can see them flying, but you want them responsive so you can have successful hunts, and that's hopefully what this front will do.
It's Game Warden Day on Mississippi Outdoors Radio. You are the star, my friend.
Well, it's a humbling honor. I appreciate it.
The Major will be signing autographs in the parking lot about 10 after 1, just to let you know.
Yep. I brought I brought two pictures to sign. That's what I anticipate. Chip and Adam, I think, will maybe get a signed autograph.
The question that everybody asks in this situation, do you sign body parts?
No.
Okay. We just wanted to clear that up right up front.
No way, Teddy.
We'll move forward from there. Now, talking about game wardens, everybody knows the term. Everybody knows what a game warden is, or they think they do, but a lot of times they don't. What is a game warden? Define it for us.
Well, we get that a lot, from people that look at us and say, "What do y'all do? What is exactly what you do?" And so, we're state-sworn law enforcement officers. Our primary duties are enforcing wildlife and fisheries regulations that are set by the state legislature, and we also enforce regulations that are set by our commission, our agency commission. People that deer hunt, duck hunt, fish, that recreationally boat across the state, they may be familiar with us and kind of know, hunting license, bag limits, the amount of fish or birds you may have. We check that stuff. Boating regulations, your boat registration. We do things like that. But the unique part of our job in our law enforcement profession, everybody knows what a state trooper is. Everybody drives a vehicle. Not everybody hunts and fishes. And so in that, they may not understand exactly what we do. And that's okay because, you don't expect people that don't hunt or fish to really know what we do. But the other thing is, when a police officer, a sheriff's deputy, or a state trooper respond to a call, or like a trooper makes a stop on you, you're speeding, or you may have committed some other type of crime, and they're responding to a situation that they know a crime has been committed, and so their defenses are up, and not that ours aren't, but we kind of have to walk a fine line because the majority of people that we interact with are utilizing recreational time. They're taking their time off of work, or they may have one day of the week that they can get out and go hunting or fishing or boating. And so some of these people have never committed a crime in their life. And so we kind of got to assess it, kind of got to dance that fine line where you're doing the stuff that you're trained to do, where you're protecting yourself and you're not walking up on someone who is a convicted felon who's on the run in 3 states, versus just old Joe who's out there and he's as good a guy as you've ever met, and you're trying to walk through that and at the same time be approachable and friendly. It's unique to us.
Well, and it seems like that would be made more complicated by the fact that whether it's the convict that's on the run in 3 states or old Joe who just took a day off to go hunting, in both cases, they'll have a gun in their hands.
Yeah, most of the people, what's different for us is we expect to see weapons there. In another instance, when police officers, for example, make a stop and they walk up and their partner's on the other side and they're doing a traffic stop and they see a gun, they may notify each other, they may scream out gun, and then they may take some type of defensive approach or tactical approach. For us, we expect to see them, and so that's a uniqueness there too, that we have to respect it and kind of know in the back of our head anything could go down real quick. I mean, they're armed just like we are, and so and they know how to use those weapons. They're proficient with those weapons, and so that's always something that is in the front of your mind, really, not the back of your mind. When you walk up, somebody's holding a weapon, or they're in a vehicle and they have a weapon, and so that is different.
It's kind of setting the tone, whereas, like you said before, the other branches of law enforcement, it's immediately a cause to go to a higher alert level. It's they've got a weapon, whereas with you guys, it's nice rifle. Let me see your license.
Right. Is it unloaded? Make sure you have a license and this and that, and you kind of got to go through. And some of the stuff, you may get a call or you may get a tip or something like that, where that your senses are going to be heightened and you're going to handle it in a different situation. But, we kind of got to balance that, and that's something unique to our position.
Now, one thing that I think some people aren't aware of, and I love this, everyone I think is familiar with the concept of a DUI.
Right.
Most people don't realize there's a BUI.
That's true. Yeah, and it's the same level as a DUI. It's 0.08, and so during the summer months, and right now also, when I've been working before, checking waterfowl hunting on the Mississippi River, people will, when it's cold outside, they'll partake in some drinks to try to stay warm, and I ain't talking about coffee. And so you can be charged with boating under the influence, and it's not wise to drive a vehicle and be drinking, and it's not wise to to drive a boat and be under the influence either.
And that's something I think a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah, so we definitely do that. We're just unique. I mean, that's a word I don't want to overuse for the day, but we're trying to educate the public to not overuse the resource and abuse it, and at the same time, we want to see compliance with the law, and whether that means giving somebody a break or giving somebody a ticket or taking somebody to jail, because ultimately at the end of the day we want the fish, the ducks, the deer, the natural resources of this state. You know, we that's the whole reason we were formed in 1938, was to prevent overharvest and extinction of animals, because once we lose those things, they don't come back.
Exactly. And one thing, I want to make sure we make this distinction clear, because we talk about game wardens as being law enforcement officers, and you are. To be a game warden, you have to go through the academy, right?
Yeah, we are fully state sworn officers. People, many times will say, you can't pull us over, you don't have those powers. We have the same powers as any sheriff's deputy, police officer, state trooper, but a lot of people just aren't aware of that. And so if we can be called for assistance. We help local sheriff's departments and rural municipalities. And in some areas of the state, they're just limited in the resources to patrol those areas. And so we'll definitely be willing to help those other agencies. And, if we're riding down the road and there's something going on in front of us in a vehicle that's causing possible harm to another bystander or the public, we'll initiate a traffic stop to assess the situation. We're not running around looking for that stuff, but we're also sworn to protect the public, and so we can't allow certain things that throw up police radar, that throw our little training.
Get those red flags flying.
You start meeting some of those things. We need to check out the situation and just do some type of investigation to make sure that person's okay, or that person's not too intoxicated to be driving a vehicle, or whatever the case may be. Maybe on the run. I don't know. There's all kind of stuff out there, man, that you never really know when you get behind the vehicle, the wheel of the vehicle, what you're going to encounter that day.
Well, and we see news reports all the time when something happens. There's some big crisis or something where several different agencies have to respond, and you'll see the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. They'll list officers from there as some of the folks that responded to help. And I've had people ask me before, why'd they call the game wardens?
Yeah.
This had nothing to do with hunting. And the response is, you don't realize, I think, what a game warden is.
That's right. And when something bad happens and you have a team full of players and members, you want to pool all the resources. If you got a felony manhunt going on, you want the guy caught. You don't really care who catches him. You pull the whole team off the bench and you get them going. You put them on the field.
Charles and Summerall just texted in with a good question. Are the legal penalties less for a BUI versus a DUI?
The monetary amount is similar, but the common question that people ask is, does it affect my insurance or my driving my vehicle? And it does not. You can lose your boating privileges. It does not affect your car insurance, but that still doesn't mean that it's a good idea, because nobody likes going to jail.
Yeah, and that's part of this.
That's right.
You get arrested for a BUI, right?
Yeah, you can go to jail and spend the night in the pokey. So we don't want to encourage that.
And just want to pass this along. Andrew from Dennis says, for all y'all that have to go through to get that job, y'all don't get paid nearly enough. In my opinion, you deserve a raise for sure.
Well, everybody likes raises, so I can't argue with that.
And right now, everybody in the room likes Andrew from Dennis as well.
That's true, yeah.
We'd like to thank you for the text. Text line always open, 601-879-4395 on Mississippi Outdoors Radio. From the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, literally 2 minutes ago, confirmed tornado near Bolton, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So still part of that same cell, I think. Yeah, it's just going to continue throughout the day, I'm afraid. But we'll keep you updated on it. Stay weather aware. We'll do what we can to help you, and we will continue with Mississippi Outdoor Radio next. Welcome back to Mississippi Outdoors Radio on Super Talk Mississippi. We'll get back to the guys here in just a second on Game Warden Day. We should have that declared by the legislature. Let's just go ahead and get that in place, and we can celebrate it every year, Major. I think it's a great idea. But first, we've got to do this week's Gateway Getaway. And this week, it's LaFleur's Bluff State Park. And, of course, LaFleur's Bluff, located in the city limits of Jackson, open year-round for recreation, including hiking, picnicking, fishing, and boating. A 305-acre park established on the banks of the Pearl River and Mays Lake in the late 18th century with 30 RV campsites, picnic spots, pavilions, nature trails, and fishing in the 50-acre Mays Lake. And guess what? January 1st, 2020, the first day hike. You can start your new year on the right foot. You're probably going to need some warmer clothes and some maybe 2 pairs of socks instead of just one, but put those in your good hiking shoes, bring a friend, and you're going to have a great time in the great outdoors. If you'd like park reservations, you can go to mdwfp.com. You can call 1-800-467-2757, or you can call the park itself at 601-987-3923. And, of course, don't forget it's gift-giving season, and a good gift, annual park permit. $50 gives you access to all of the state parks, including LaFleur's Bluff, for an entire year. If you'd like to stuff one of those in a stocking, you can do it. That's a great deal, by the way. $50 for a whole year for all of them? Come on. Call 601-432-2219 to get that. That's your Gateway Getaway for today. LaFleur's Bluff is a great park. I've been there once or twice. It's a gorgeous place.
Right in the heart of Jackson.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprise. Once you get in it, you're like, wait a minute, what happened? You feel like you're out of place a little bit. We were talking to the Major. We've gotten some questions in that we need to deal with because that's the purpose of Game Warden Day is to clarify.
That's it. Every question out there we're going to try to answer.
I'm going to do our very, very best.
You know, it's funny. Every time we see somebody at the gas station or at the get something to eat or something when we're working, people walk up and it's like I've been looking for one of you guys. I got a question. It's common every time we go out. So let's hear them.
Well, one of them that came in, Argo and Blue Springs. Can you get a BUI in a non-motorized boat? And is a trolling motor considered a motor for the purposes of getting a BUI?
Well, the statute, the law actually reads that to be charged under the boating under the influence law, your boat must be powered by a 25 horsepower or greater motor. Now, for all those out there who are thinking that, hey, I figured out a way to circumvent the system, there is another statute that prevents the operation of a boat in a negligent or reckless manner, and it states that any under the influence or any alcohol or any drinks like that. So if you're in a 20 horsepower motor, you can still be issued a citation for operating under the influence. It just wouldn't be classified as boating under the influence.
Somebody else texted in and said, when did BUI drop from a 0.1 to 0.08?
Probably 3 to 5 years ago. I think the legislature may have tried to clean it up with just keeping it maybe uniform across the board, but it was a few years back.
Mm-hmm. Mike from Boonville said, I just want to throw this out here too. Not only that you don't get paid enough, I believe you have one of the most dangerous law enforcement jobs because most everyone you're after has some kind of weapon. Thanks for your service.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Is it Mike you said?
Yes, Mike in Boonville.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I guess you could say, I don't know how you would term it, but if you base, unfortunately, the number of in the line of duty deaths that we have occurred within our ranks relative to the size of the number of officers we have across the state, it's a lot more than other agencies. We've lost 13 since we've been in existence, and we've only around 200 average over the course of history across the state. I think we have around 180 now across the state, and so other agencies may have a lot more officers and have lost what I don't even know the term of that, per capita. Is that correct? We would go with it.
Yeah,
it works.
That works.
You awake over there, Butler?
Works.
He's having an easy day today.
Well, it's good, man. He does a great job with this show. We would not be as successful as we are with this show without his steering this ship in the right direction.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's the man.
We have one here. It's kind of I'm glad you're here because I'm not sure where this. Most of the time when I see these questions, I'm like, oh well, I know how this is going to be answered. This one, I'm not sure. I got a challenge for you.
Getting a little nervous here.
Yeah. Text in from the 662 says, I've been hunting and fishing Hampton Lake in Tallahatchie County for 30 years now. Own 2,640 feet of lake frontage. In the last 3 years, a new landowner on the lake says I can't fish or hunt outside my property. Is this so or not? He's talking about on the lake itself. He will sit in my decoys till I leave that part of the lake. Is that true or not? Thank you guys for your service.
I think to better answer his question, because it's so specific to that area, and I'm not really sure what body of water he's talking about, and there's some questions, some clarifying questions we need to get there with that situation for him to contact us at our headquarters office, 601-432-2400, or you can find it online, and we can get him in the right direction and get him an answer to that. There's too many things that we need to follow up with and ask him to get a good answer, a correct answer for him right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, call us and we'll get you some advice.
It's a question that can be answered, just not on the show because we don't know the full details on that one yet. There can be some complicated situations for game wardens, can't there?
Oh yeah. So, kind of the gist of this day was to talk about maybe what a day looks like for us when Butler and I were going over the kind of 50,000-foot view. And so, like this time of year, if I were working or if officers are out working, depending on where they are in the state, we may wake up and want to go check waterfowl hunters. You may want to go, depending on what bodies of water in your area, go check those. You may check private land hunters. You could go check deer hunting clubs or properties for hunting license to make sure they're in compliance. And while you're doing that, you could be called to a trespassing complaint or an incident that's occurring on the complete opposite side of the county. So you have to scurry over there. And then once you get there, you could very well receive another call right where you just left from, along the river, for instance. And you'd have to go back there. And, all this could happen in a matter of hours. It could be just this hunting season is wide open for officers. And then that's just the morning time. Afternoons, you may get some tips of people road hunting, trying to shoot deer from the road when it gets cold outside, those dreary winter days. A lot of people like to utilize their vehicles as hunting stands, and that's illegal.
Yeah, you can't do that.
They keep the heater on, they keep slow rolling, and they try to shoot some big deer off the road, and so that's frowned upon by the state statute. So we work that, or we may put out a deer decoy. We utilize those in certain instances. Many entertaining stories have originated from the use of a mechanical deer. We had one person ask one time, we thought they were going to drive and run over the deer, but they actually stopped short of it, and we some of the officers there stepped out of the hiding places and stopped them and said, "What are y'all doing?" And they had asked that. They said, "We saw the deer from the road and we were just wanting to get closer." And we said something, you kind of got to play it up a little bit at this point, and they weren't doing anything wrong, but they were wanting to know how we trained that deer so well to not run off.
Wow.
And so we said, well, we can't divulge that type of information. That's G17 classified. So that
a well-trained deer, huh?
I mean, it stood right there.
That's years of training to get them to that point.
That's it. Not only do we have to go through strict training, the deer that we protect also do. But, those are some of the funny things that we get to kind of experience and see. There are a wealth of stories out there of people, that you can't tell some of them over the air, and some of them you just kind of scratch your head at and think, what? Like, that don't make any sense. Like, yeah, man. Folks will do some dumb stuff when I remember another time when there was a big deer, like mucho big, probably 150s, 160, that was chasing a doe across this open field alongside Highway 49. And we probably wrote 5 or 6 different vehicles. You know, somebody saw it, they called somebody, and that next person come down. They're trying to get around on this deer to shoot it from the road. And one deer just generated.
Just within the span of a few minutes.
I mean, we'd run down here and stop this vehicle, and then we'd be coming back, and there'd be another vehicle stopped on the side of the road. So we'd go and check it, and there's a rifle on the seat. Or
like flies to honey.
I'm telling you, people go out, like you said earlier, they could be like your next door neighbor, best guy you've ever seen. He just turkey season, deer season comes around here, they just lose it.
I tell you what, we got to take a break. We will continue Game Warden Day on Mississippi Outdoors Radio next. It's not just a radio component to Mississippi Outdoors Radio, is it?
Yep, we have the television show, and this is when we remind viewers to tune in on Thursday nights at 7:30 on Mississippi Public Broadcasting for Mississippi Outdoors Television. So this week's going to be a rerun. We're going to be back to new episodes after the first year, but this week's kind of a cool one. The crew will be in Tallahatchie County on a Trout Valley quail hunt. It's a great show. And then they have a whole segment on oyster harvesting down on the Gulf Coast, which is really, really interesting. Like, it's way more complicated than you would expect. So check that out.
You think you just pull them up and go about your business, but it's
they go through the whole, how they propagate them and put them back out there in the water, and it's pretty neat. And for someone who likes oysters, you definitely appreciate it. So.
Very cool. And that's
7:30 on Thursday nights, and then again on Saturdays at 5:30.
Well, if you've accomplished nothing else, now I'm craving quail. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. Major Chris Reed, you guys, just like all law enforcement, there are a lot of stories that go around, a lot of opinions people have about what you do and why you do what you do. And come on, let's just address some of those right now. Do you have a ticket quota?
No, that myth would be false. We do not discriminate against who or how many tickets the officers write each month. We'll write them to anybody. And in that, there's some, satire, but we don't have quotas that we have to meet every month. No.
In other words, nobody's getting called into the home office if, your tickets ticket numbers are down this month. Why didn't you write more?
He just write me a ticket to get his quota. Well, those things don't exist.
I've heard that one.
Yeah. Now, same thing again with tickets, because that's where most of the stories seem to circulate. Yeah. You're just writing tickets. It's a budget crunch. You ran out of toner for the printer, so we got to write some more tickets to get the money to buy that and to fund the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. That's not the way that works, is it?
No, that's also false. And that fine money that we issue actually goes to the county that it was issued in, and those dollars are spelled out to the penny of where those funds are dispersed through the county. We get our revenue and money from license sales. Hunting and fishing license sales is where we get it.
And not from ticket, because you get none of that money back.
No,
tickets.
We get $5 for hunter ed education on certain tickets. That's it.
Now, we've had a question or two along these lines. A game warden can they just come up and decide, I need to search your truck, or I need to look in your house real quick, make sure you didn't overstep the bag limit or something, and without a warrant, without permission, anything, and just walk up and just barge right in. Is that true?
Well, no, we get credit for more than is actually true. So one of the people texted in on the Facebook to Chip and asked if we could just search somebody's vehicle and violate their rights and all that stuff. And we if we get consent, we can search your vehicle. We say, hey, do you mind if we search your truck? No, go right ahead. No, everybody's fine. No, go ahead. No, I don't have anything to hide. And then you find something and you're like, well, what's this? Where that came from? And so at that point, then they start saying, well, you don't have a right to search my truck. So whatever. But like going in your house and doing all that stuff, we got to obtain search warrants. We're bound by the same regulations as every other law enforcement agency.
We had somebody that called in that was wanting to know, can you go onto private land without the permission of the landowner, just go in there to look for violations?
Yeah, so our job is to, if there's any game that is present, any wildlife or fisheries that are present on a property or could be present. And so that pretty much covers the majority of rural Mississippi. There could be deer, there could be squirrels, there could be fish on a property. And so at that point, we have the right to go in. We don't have to notify the landowner to go in there and check for compliance, because if somebody's got a pile of feed, for instance, in a CWD zone, and you say, hey, I need to come check your property for illegal bait. Oh, well, no, you don't have my permission. You can't go on my property. And so we are not we don't have to call the landowner and let them know. We can go on property to check to make sure the rules are being followed.
That's just the way the law is written. I mean,
right.
It's not like you walked around and just decided this yourself. That's the law. That's the way it works.
So that's how we can effectively do our jobs, because some of the people that get caught, anybody that's ever been issued a citation, we always try to teach new officers to make them shake your hand or leave with a smile after you give them a ticket, and they'll look at you like that's impossible. In some instances, it is impossible. But if you treat somebody right and you respect them and you handle the situation well, many, many times I've issued a citation to somebody and they've thanked me or smiled when we left and said I had a good day. And so at that point, you're treating them like you want to be treated.
We are out of time. We need to do Game Warden Day again.
I think so.
We got a lot more to cover.
Part 2.
A lot of stuff left to cover. Adam Butler, Major Chris Reed with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. That's it for the JT Show. Have a good day. JT will join you again tomorrow from Starkville. Be careful in this weather today.